आवाज आ रही क्या नजीम मैडम? हेलो.
Yes, sir, Ari. Assalamu alaikum, sir.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Dr. Ahmad Zahid Memorial Lecture Series. First of all, I welcome Dr. Mazhar Ahmad Farooqi, Principal, Maulana Azad College, Professor Aditi Bhattacharya, IQAC Coordinator and Head Department of Microbiology, Maulana Azad College, Aurangabad, Dr. Muhammad Abdul Bari, Vice Principal, Maulana Azad College, Aurangabad, esteemed colleagues in the institution, and dear students. Today, today's topic of the lecture is Constitution of India and Fundamental Right. This will be delivered by Dr. Najim Asra, Department of Political Science, Maulana Azad College, Aurangabad. Maulana Azad College, Aurangabad. Before listening to her, I request one of our colleague, Dr. Afroz Begum, Department of Sociology, Maulana Azad College, Aurangabad, to introduce her.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening to one and all present here. Honorable Principal and President of this program, Dr. Mazhar Ahmad Farooqi, sir. Respected Vice Principal, Dr. M.A. Bari, sir. IQAC Coordinator, Professor Aditi Bhattacharya, ma'am. Convener of this program, Dr. R.F. Pathan, sir. Director, Rafiq Zakaria Center for Higher Learning and Advanced Research. Coordinator of this lecture series, Dr. Sayyid Sultan, sir, all faculty members and students. It is great pleasure to me to introduce my friend, Dr. Najim Asra, gold medalist in MA Political Science. At present, she is working as an assistant professor in the Department of Political Science in Maulana Azad College of Arts, Science and Commerce since from last 6 years. She has actively participated in extracurricular and co-curricular activities. She has published more than 10 research papers in national and international journals. She was awarded to late Sudhakar Bindu Gold Medal from Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar Marathwada University for securing highest marks in MA Political Science. So, this is the brief introduction of today's speaker. Thank you, sir.
So with this brief introduction, I once again welcome Dr. Najim Asra and request her to deliver her talk.
Okay. I'm audible to sir. Arif, sir.
Yes, continue.
Okay. Thank you, Afroz ma'am, for giving my introduction. Respected Principal, Dr. Mazhar Ahmad Farooqi, sir. Vice Principal, Dr. M. Bari, sir. The program of the convener, Dr. Ahmad Zahi Lecture Series, Dr. Arif Pathan, sir. Program Coordinator, Dr. Sayyid Sultan, sir. IQAC Coordinator, Dr. Aditi Bhattacharya, ma'am. Faculty members and students, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu, and a very good morning to one and all. Firstly, I sincere gratitude to Principal Sir, Dr. Mazhar Ahmad Farooqi Sir, and organizing committee to give me an opportunity to deliver our lecture in Dr. Ahmad Zahi Lecture Series. Today, I give my lecture on the topic of Constitution of India and Fundamental Rights. In this lecture, I cover the features, meaning features, types of fundamental rights, importance of fundamental rights and amendment procedure for fundamental rights. So I deliver my lecture through the PPT presentation. So I request to Dr. Arif Pathan sir to give me a permission to start my lectures through the PPT. Sir, can I start?
Yes, continue.
Okay, thank you, sir. I give my lecture on Constitution of India and fundamental rights. Firstly, we describe the meaning of fundamental rights. What are the fundamental rights? Fundamental rights are the basic human rights enshrined in the Part 3 of the Constitution of India, which are guaranteed to all citizens. The framer of the Constitution derived inspiration from the Constitution of USA, Bill of Rights. Part 3 of the Constitution is rightly described as a Magna Carta of India. It contains a very long and comprehensive list of justiciable. Justiciable means that if these rights are violated by the government or anyone, the individual has the right to approach the Supreme Court or High Court for the protection of his or her fundamental rights.
Madam, PPT is not visible.
Okay. Just a minute. Okay. It's visible to all. Sir, it's
No.
visible to all.
No,
No,
it is not visible.
just a minute.
मैडम पहले अनशेयर कीजिए,
जी सर.
पहले अनशेयर कीजिए, पीपीटी ऑन कीजिए,
सर पीपीटी ऑन है.
पहले ये अनशेयर कर दो.
स्टॉप शेयरिंग कर देना सर.
हाँ, स्टॉप शेयरिंग करो.
ओके.
फिर से शेयर करो. आप पीपीटी वाली जो विंडो दिखेंगे आपको, उसको क्लिक कर दो. 2-3
सर,
दिखेंगे
यहाँ-
उसमें.
एक मिनट.
शेयर के अंदर है तो आपको बेसिक के अंदर 2-3 चीजें दिखाई देंगी ना. हाँ आज आ गया, बस कंटिन्यू कीजिए आप.
Okay, sir. So let's start. Move on. Starting. The firstly, we describe the meaning of fundamental rights. The original text of the Constitution contained 395 articles, sparing 22 parts and 8 schedules. Effects on 26 January 1950. The number of the articles since increased into 448 due to 100 amendments. The fundamental rights are the basic human rights enshrined in the Part 3 of the Constitution of India, which are guaranteed to the all citizens. Fundamental rights are very necessary for the individual to live a peaceful life. So that's why the Constitution rightly describe fundamental rights give to the citizens. It is called also as a Magna Carta of India. It contains a very long and comprehensive list of justiciable fundamental rights. Justiciable means that if these rights are violated by the government or anyone or any particular or any other agencies or non-governmental agencies, individual has a right to approach the Supreme Court or High Court for the protection of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights in our constitutions are more elaborate than the constitution of the other in the world. The concept of fundamental rights we derive from the USA Constitution, Bill of Rights. The fundamental rights are guaranteed by the Constitution to all persons without any discrimination. They uphold the equality of all individuals, the dignity of the individuals, the larger public interest, and the unity of the nations. The fundamental rights means for promoting the ideal of political democracy. They prevent the establishment of an authoritarian and despotic rule in the country and protect the liberties and the freedom of the people against the invasion of the state. They operate as limitation on the tyranny of the executive and arbitrary laws of the nature. In short, they aim at establishing a government of laws and not of men. The fundamental rights are named so because they are guaranteed and protected by the Constitution, which is the fundamental law of the land. They are fundamental also in the sense that they are most essential for all-round development of individuals like material, intellectuals, morals, and spirituals. Then we discuss why are they called fundamental rights. There are two reasons behind that this is a fundamental rights. The first one is they are enshrined in the Constitution, which guarantees them. And the second is they are justiciable, enforceable by courts. In case of violation, a person can approach a court. It means that if a state is not able to give a fundamental rights or due to the policies, they can hurt the fundamental rights, a citizen can approach to the court. These are the two reasons which that's why we call these a fundamental rights. Then we discuss the features of fundamental rights. There are so many features of fundamental rights, but I show some important features in that PPT. The first is fundamental rights are different from ordinary legal rights in the manner in which they are enforced. If a legal right is violated, the aggrieved person cannot directly approach the Supreme Court by passing the lower courts. Her or she should first approach the lower courts. The second important feature is that some of the fundamental rights are available to all citizens, while the rest are for all persons, citizens and foreigners also. The third important is that fundamental rights are not absolute rights. They have reasonable restrictions, which means they are subject to the conditions of the state, security, public morality, and decency and friendly relations with the foreign countries. The fourth important is that they are justiciable. implying they are enforceable by courts. People can approach the Supreme Court directly in case of violation of fundamental rights. Fundamental rights can be amended by the Parliament via constitutional amendment, but only if the amendment does not alter the basic structure of the Constitution. The next fifth is that fundamental rights can be suspended during the national emergency. This is a very important feature there. But the rights guaranteed under Article 20 and 21 cannot be suspended. The application, the sixth one is the application of fundamental rights can be restricted in an area that has been placed under the material law or military law. These are the some features of fundamental rights. Now we discuss the types of fundamental rights. There's Indian constitutions have given 6 fundamental rights to the citizens. This is a right to equality, article number from 14 to 18. Second है right to freedom, article 19 to 22. Third है right against exploitation, article 23 to 24. Right to freedom of religion, article 25 to 28. Fifth, cultural and educational rights, article 29 and 30 is reserved for that. The sixth fundamental rights is that right to constitutional remedies, article in 32. Actually, at the time of the making of the constitution, there are the 7 fundamental rights which give to the individual by the state. The 7th is a right to property, but it can be removed by the amendment of 44th Amendment of the Indian Constitution in 1978, and it made a legal right under the Article 300A in Part 12 of the Constitution. So at present, we have only 6 fundamental rights which are given to the citizens. Next, one by one, we discuss the fundamental rights. The first is right to equality. Firstly, we discuss the right to equality, article number 14 to 18. Right to equality means that all citizens enjoy privileges, equal privileges and opportunities. It protects the citizens against any discrimination by the state on the basis of religion, caste, race, sex, or place of birth. Right to equality includes 5 articles. Article number 14 to 18. In Article 14, equality before law and equal protection of law. In this article, it says that according to the Constitution, Article number 14 says that the state shall not deny to any person equality before law or equal protection of law within the territory of India. Equality before law means that no person is above law and all are equal before the law. Every individual has equal access to the courts. Equal protection of laws means that if 2 persons belonging to different communities commit the same crime, both of them will get the same punishment. Article number 15 refers to the prohibition of discrimination on the grounds of religion, race, caste, sex, or place of birth. In this article deals with the no citizen shall be denied access to shop, restaurant, and place of public entertainment. Neither shall anyone be denied the use of wells, tanks, roads maintained wholly or partly of state funds. However, the state is empowered to make special provision for women, children, and for the uplifts of scheduled castes, scheduled tribes, and other backward classes. The state can reserve seats for these categories in educational institutions, grants fee concessions, or arrange some coaching classes. The next is Article 16. Article 16 refers to equality of opportunity in the matter of public appointment. In this article, it mentioned that our constitution guarantees equality of opportunity in the matter relating to the appointment to public services to all citizens. There shall be no discrimination on the basis of the caste, religion, sex, place of birth, or residence in matters relating to the employment in public services. Merit will be the basis of employment. However, certain limitations have been provided to the enjoyment of these rights. Next, Article 17. Article 17 refers to abolitions of untouchability and prohibition of practices. In these articles, deals with that the Constitution abolishes untouchability and its practices in any form is forbidden. The Act declares following act as offenses. That is, the first, refusing admission to any person to the public institution, preventing any person from worshipping in place of public worship. Next, insulting a member of scheduled caste on the grounds of untouchability, and preaching untouchability directly or indirectly. The next, article number 18. Article number 18 was an important article which is given by the Constitution. This is the abolition of the titles. These articles declares that all titles or national or foreign which create artificial distinction in social status among the people have been abolished. This provision has been included in the Constitution to do away with the titles like Rai Sahib, Rai Bahadur have been conferred by the British on a few Indians as a reward for their effective cooperation to the colonial regime. The practice of conferring titles like this is against the doctrine of equality of law. That's why the Constitution has refused to the abolitions of the titles. But the one thing described in this article is that Bharat Ratna, Padma Vibhushan, Padma Shri, Paramvir Chakra, Veer Chakra, these are not titles given by the state. This is achievements or military rewards. This called as achievement or military rewards. These are not called as a titles. The next important fundamental rights is right to freedom. Right to freedom refers to article number 19 to 22. These freedom of right is the basic characteristic of true democracy. Our Constitution guarantees to the citizens of India a set of 6 fundamental rights, which is mentioned according to the Article 19. The first is freedom of speech. You have a right to deliver your speech or to deliver your thoughts before the state. Freedom of expression, freedom of assembly without arms, freedom of associations, or freedom to practice any professions. You have a right to practice any profession, and freedom to reside in any part of the country. These 6 fundamental rights are given by the Constitution to the citizens in the article, according to the Article of 19. Move to the next, Article 20. Article 20 conferred with to protection in the respect of convention for the offenses. Article number 20 provides that the constitutional provision assure protection against arbitrary arrest and excessive punishment to any person who is alleged to have committed an offense. No person shall be punished except for the violation of law, which is force when the crime was committed. No person shall be punished for the same offense more than once. The next is, this article contains also retrospective criminal legislation and the double jeopardy. In this, the respective criminal legislations means this is also known as the ex post facto criminal legislation. Under this, a person cannot convicted for an act that was committed at a time when the act had not been declared by a law an offense. This means that criminal legislation cannot be given a retrospective effects, and the law also provides that a person cannot subject to a punishment greater than what is prescribed by the law for the offense committed. And the second bit it mentioned is that a double jeopardy, prohibition against self-incrimination. This implies that no person accused of an offense shall be compelled by the state or to bear witness against himself. The next is article number 21, protection of life and personal liberties. Article 25 declares that the Constitution lays down that no person shall be deprived life or personal liberty except according to the procedure established by the law. The Supreme Court has interpreted the right to life as a right to dignified life. Second, this is the most important right in one sense because it can ensure that no person can be punished on imprisonment at the whims of some authority. He or she may be punished only for the violation of the law. Article 21 also divide or describe into another. This is called Article 21A. In that, Article 21A describes the right to elementary education. This article was introduced in the 86th Constitutional Amendment in 2002. It provides that a state should provide free and compulsory education to all children between the age of 6 and 14. The next is Article number 22, protection against arbitrary arrest and detention in certain cases. Our Constitution guarantees that rights to arrest person. As per the provision, no person can be arrested or detained in custody without being informed of the grounds for detention. He or she has the right to consult to be defended by the lawyer or her choice. The accused has to be produced before the nearest magistrate within the period of 24 hours of arrestment. These safeguards, however, not available to the foreigners as well as to those citizens detained under Preventive Detention Act. The article number 22 is also divided into 3, 22.1, 22.2, 22.3, 21 in 1. Any person who is custody has to be informed as to why he has been arrested. Further, he cannot be denied to right to consult an advocate. 22.2, to arrest individual should be put before the judicial magistrate within 24 hours. No individual who has been arrested will keep in custody for more than period determined by the judicial magistrate. The next is right against exploitation. This is the third important fundamental rights of Constitution. This is the rights against exploitation. Article number 23 and 23 to 24. These rights implies the prohibition of traffic in human being, vigor, and other form of forced labor. It also implies the prohibition of children in factories. The Constitution prohibits the employment of children under 14 years in the hazardous conditions. There are 2 articles of the Constitution which guarantees the rights against exploitations. These are Article number 23 conferred to prohibition of traffic in human being and forced labor. The traffic in human beings includes selling and buying of men, women, and children's live goods. And second, immoral traffic in women and children, including prostitutions. And to punish this act, the Parliament has made the Immoral Traffic Act in 1956. And prohibition of the second is the prohibition of employment of children in factories. According to the Article 24, prohibition of employment of children in factories. Article number 24 prohibits the employment of children below the age of 14 years in any factory, mine, or other hazardous activities like construction, work, or railway, but it does not prohibit their employment in any harmless or innocent work. The next four important fundamental rights is right to freedom of religion. It contain article number 25 to 28 deals with the right to freedom of religion. Article number 25 deals with the freedom of conscience and free profession, practice, and propagation of religion. In these articles, it says that India is a multi-religious state. Besides Hindus, there are Muslims, Sikh, Christians, and many other residing in our country. The Constitution guarantees to every person freedom of conscience and right to practice and propagate any religion. Article number 26 deal with the freedom to manage religious affairs. That our Constitution has give the right to the individual to manage their religious affairs according to the article of 26. It also permits every religion group the right to manage its own affairs in matters of religion. Every religious sect has the right to establish and maintain institutions for religious and charitable purpose. Each religious group is also free to purchase and manage its movable property in accordance with the law for the propagation of its religion. The next day, Article 27. The Article 27 deals with freedom as to payment of taxes for the promotion of any particular religion. In this article, it says that person shall be compelled to pay taxes for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion or religious denominations. In other words, the state should not spend the public money collected way of tax for the promotion or maintenance of any particular religion. This provision prohibits the state from favoring, patronizing, and supporting one religion over the other. This means that taxes can be used for the promotion or maintenance of all the religion. Article number 28 deals with the freedom as to attendance at religious instructions or religious worship in certain educational institutions. It means that citizens have a right to worship their religions or to make educational institution. These articles consist that no religious instruction shall be provided in any education institution wholly maintained out of state funds. However, this provision shall not apply to an educational institution administered by the state but established under any endowment or trust requiring imparting of religious instructions in such institution. Article number 28 distinguishes between four types of educational institution. The first is institution wholly maintained by the state. The second is institution administered by the state but established under any endowment or trust. Third, institution recognized by the state. And the fourth is institution receiving aid from the state. These are the right to religion. And the next is fifth important fundamental rights is cultural and educational rights. Cultural and educational rights deal from the 29 to 30 reserved for the cultural and educational rights. Education cultural rights safeguard the rights of linguistic and religious minorities. In this article, you can read all about 29, 30 of the Indian Constitution. The Article 29 deals with the protection of language and script and culture of minorities. Article number 29 provides that any section of citizens residing in any part of India having a distinct language, script or culture of its own shall have right to conserve the same. Further, no citizen shall be denied admission into any educational institution maintained by the state or receiving aid out of state funds on ground only of religion, race, caste, or languages. Article number 29 grants protection to both religious minorities as well as linguistic minorities. The Supreme Court also held that the right to conserve the language, including the right to educate for the protection of the language. The next is Article 30. The Article 30 deals with the rights of minorities to establish and administrate educational institution. The Article number 13 grants the following rights to the minorities, whether religious or linguistic. The first is all minorities shall have the right to establish and administrate educational institution for their choice. The second is that the compensation amount fixed by the state for the compulsory acquisition of any property of a minority educational institution shall not restrict or abrogate the right guaranteed to them. This provision was added by the 44th Amendment Act of 1978 to protect the rights of minorities in this regard. The Act deleted the right to property as a fundamental right in Article 31. Because of that, the article right to property was deleted from the fundamental rights. The third is in guaranteeing aid, the state shall not discriminate against any educational institution managed by a minority. The move to the next point. This is sixth important fundamental rights is right to constitutional remedies. These fundamental rights is we can say that it is also the soul of all the fundamental rights which is given by the Constitution, and this one is the right to constitutional remedies. The constitutional remedies conferred fundamental rights in the Constitution is meaningless, useless, and worthless without providing an effective machinery for their enforcement. If and when they are violated, Article 32 confers the right to remedies for the enforcement of fundamental rights of an aggrieved citizens. Fundamental rights can be described, right to constitutional remedies also describe that this is it entitles the citizens of India to move the Supreme Court or High Court for the enforcement of these rights. The state is forbidden from making any law that may be in conflict with the fundamental rights. The Constitution empowers the Supreme Court and High Court to issue order or writs as mentioned. The Supreme Court and High Court give some writs for protecting the right to constitutional remedies or fundamental rights. This is a habeas corpus. The first one is this habeas corpus is a Latin word, and we cannot drive it into our language. Habeas corpus is as it is in Latin language. It is an order by court to state to produce the person physically before it justify the confinement or release of the person. Second is mandaments. Mandaments also the Latin word. It means that it is a command or an order from a superior court to a subordinate court or tribunal or public authority to perform its duties in case it is not doing it. The third is prohibition. It means that it is an order issued by the Supreme Court to forbid a subordinate court or tribunal from proceeding with case which is beyond its jurisdiction. Next is quo warranto. The writ is issued to restrain a person from acting in public office to which he or she is not entitled. The next is the creatio. The term creatio means to be informed of what is going. It is an order to a lower court from a superior court to transfer the matter it or to any other court for deciding the matters. These are the 6 fundamental rights which is given by the Constitution of India to the citizens. The next is the importance of fundamental rights. What are the importance of fundamental rights? Fundamental rights are very important because they are like the backbone of the country. They are essential for safeguarding the public interest. According to the Article 13, all laws that are violate or fundamental rights shall be void. There is an express provision for judicial review. The Supreme Court and High Court can declare any unconstitutional on the ground that is violate of fundamental rights. That next is the point is amendability of fundamental rights. In which manner we can make amendment in fundamental rights, and if we want to any changes in fundamental rights require a constitutional amendment that should be passed by both the houses of the parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. The amendment bill should be passed by the special majority of the parliament. So this is my presentation. I complete my presentation now. So, thank you. Thank you, Arif sir.
Thank you, Najim madam, for your nice deliberations. Now,
Thank you, sir.
as the last part of the program, I request program coordinator, series coordinator, Professor Sayyid Sultan, Department of Chemistry, Maulana Azad College, to propose vote of thanks.
Thank you, Arif sir. No doubt this is the last but the most important part of the session is to extend vote of thanks. I personally, on behalf of organizing committee, extend my sincere thanks and gratitude to our principal, Dr. Mazhar Farooqi sir, for his continuous guidance and motivation, as he provided platform for every staff member to take lectures. Secondly, I would like to thanks Professor Arif Pathan Sahab, Director, Dr. Rafiq Zakaria Center for Higher Learning and Advanced Research, Vice Principal M.A. Bari Sahab, IQAC Coordinator Dr. Aditi Bhattacharya Madam, today's speaker Dr. Najib Asra Ma'am, for her knowledgeable and informative lecture about the fundamental rights given by our Indian Constitution. Lastly, I would like to thank our dear colleague participant who attended this online lectures. Thank you everyone.